Welcome everybody, Joseph Lee here. In this video, I'm going to talk about 10 tips on how to apologize using design thinking. The reason for making this video is I want to demonstrate design thinking is not just another business tool. And to tell people there are many ways to apply design thinking if we explore. It is not just one thing about innovation. If we have design thinking embedded in our problem-solving mindset, it can be applied to many situations in our daily life, such as doing a proper apology. Because unlike designing a wallet, for example, apologies done right may actually save relationships, professional or personal. If you learn design thinking, you may have seen something similar to this. We start with empathy, understanding what the users think and feel, what they're saying and doing. We want to narrow it down to their needs and wants, and then to come up with solutions that will give them just that. We do not know if it really works until trying it out with users at the end. We get feedback and iterate for the next improvement. So all this seems like a basis for a big team project, if not for even bigger organizations like for business or social or government innovations. There's a lot of research that needs to be done, and at the end, people are designing for a product or a service or a complex combination of both. We see people putting up hundreds of post-its on the wall and showing them off on social media. The point is, it doesn't seem like design thinking is done on a personal, daily life problem solving. So the challenge I'm presenting, after we learn some design thinking, can we embed it into our mindset and naturally apply it into our daily lives? If you say you're good at design thinking, or even do user empathy professionally, have you ever applied it with the same level of design thinking skills in handling relationships? The difference is application versus theory. Once you learn the fundamentals, you can naturally discover ways to apply it anywhere without thinking too hard about it. It's similar to critical thinking. It's not only limited to writing academic papers. Before we start, I would like to do a little exercise of start with why. I want you to be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, why am I apologizing? If your motivation is different, chances are your apology would also come out differently. An example would be like this. I apologize because A, I want to feel better about myself. B, I want somebody to feel better. C, I don't want to be retaliated by somebody. So my motivation is based on fear. Well, I don't want people to talk behind my back. Would that be all of the above, none of the above, or something else? Many people think apologies are not easy. It really takes a lot of courage and emotional intelligence to do it. Some may think apologies makes them weak or look like a loser. It seems like it is an act of putting yourself at a lower position and admitting defeat. With this mindset, would only lead to hasty, empty, insincere apologies that do not serve any purpose but a simple formality at best. True to design thinking, our mindset is to embrace our mistakes, accept it, and do something about it. We become wiser through learning and doing. To make this easier to understand, I'm dividing this into 4 courses, kind of like a nice Italian restaurant menu. So for the Antipasto, tip number 1, you really need to find out if this person is mad at you. It's not easy. You have to keep your eyes and ears open, do a lot of observations, listen to what people are saying, and use your spider sense. Be really sensitive on your own actions and people's change in attitude or even just the tone of voice when talking to you. So basically, there are a lot of self-reflection to be done. For tip number 2, try switching position with the person you are apologizing to. Would you get mad at yourself? Why or why not? So basically over here, we are trying to find out if the person is mad at you and exactly why. Don't use too many assumptions, because many times what you are apologizing for, it's not what the person is angry at. So we need to find that out. And time is also essential. Do the apology as soon as possible once you find out. You may have won half of a battle right there by just apologizing right away. Okay, for the first main course, you are here doing your apology. Make sure you use the word sorry or apologize in your apology. You have to use one of the two words. State your motives and your reasons behind your actions. What were your intentions? State a lot of facts. Don't just throw around excuses. Many times it could be just an honest mistake and you want that person to know it. Good intentions lead to bad outcomes sometimes. Tip number 3. Offering a compensation too soon may have negative effects. A compensation by itself is part of the solution. So true to design thinking, try not to start with the solution in mind before understanding what the actual problem is. Tip number 4. What was the trigger of the person's anger? Can you identify it? Now for the second main course. After saying your apology, you're now acknowledging your actions in simple words. How it was wrong. What was your thought process or the lack of it? What were you thinking at the time? State your weakness at the moment. Were you being greedy? Were you not being considerate? Be expressive on how you feel. Flex your emotional intelligence muscles. Don't just use words like you feel bad. Maybe at the time you were frustrated, you felt embarrassed. Use words that could describe your feeling at the time and also your feeling right now. Tip number 5. What is the need of this person? Is a proper apology enough? What does he or she need? A formality or something deeper, like emotionally? Tip number 6. An empty apology is an apology without an action plan, which brings to the point that you have to promise not to do it again. If you can, tell the person how you are going to prevent the same thing from happening again. Many times, people are looking for that assurance. For the dessert time, seek closure by asking for forgiveness. Focus on the relationship between you and the person. This is the time to bring out the compensations. Because, like I mentioned before, don't do it too soon. If you do offer your compensations before doing your full apology, it may seem like you're the person with the money and you're now just using money to buy your way out or paying the other person to shut up. For compensations, remember, repairing something doesn't mean it's brand new again. Be appreciative that the person is considering accepting your apology. And sometimes, over-apologizing is just as bad. The person is still mad at you, then maybe you can talk to them again, asking if there are anything that you can do to keep in good terms with them. Sometimes it may work, sometimes it may not, and sometimes it's just time to move on. Tip number 7. Ideate ways to make the person feel better. What is the goal of this apology? Can your actions actually help you to achieve that goal? Tip number 8. Write down your full apology. Write it down even if you are going to do it face to face. Read it out loud to yourself and also to a neutral third party. Does it sound sincere and fair? Tip number 9. What does this person gain or lose by accepting your apology? Is there anything that motivates them to accept it? So sometimes in a business situation, maybe they are not inclined to accept your apology right away before knowing what kind of compensations that you're going to make. So there may be some implications. This is something that you have to explore and find out. Tip number 10. Be very careful on the use of humor during an apology. It's best save it until the very end, but sometimes telling a joke and laughing about it during an apology really makes it sound very insincere. You really want to do it? Ask a third party for feedback first. So here's the link of the article I wrote on 10 tips on how to apologize using design thinking. Please go check it out. Let me know, are there any things that you agree or disagree? Thanks for watching. See you next time. The apology that I described in this video and the article I wrote is really about general business relationships, such as among coworkers or personal relationships like friends and acquaintances. It may not apply to all kinds of relationships.